So hello and welcome to today's webinar, How to Live in Your Power Without the Fear of Criticism and Judgment. And I'm so glad that you've decided to join me. I'm going to share my screen here so that you can see my slides. And then we'll get started. Okay, there they are. My computer, I guess, is a bit slow this afternoon. That's okay. So welcome. I'm so happy that you could join us. My name is Melissa Sarrazin, and we are here to talk about how to live in your power without the fear of criticism and judgment. And in our time together today, I'm going to, hang on one second. I wanted to actually, turn off my camera. There we go. Just so that I can be sure my computer is going to be working properly. There. Okay. So in our time together today, I'm going to be sharing with you the most common pain points that are keeping you separate from owning and using your personal power. We're going to discover and talk about how you can recognize when they are activated, when you're in them, so that you can really use those points as a starting point to live a transformational life and to really be able to recognize how things feel natural to you. So we're going to talk about how we're going to begin to shift them and what to do to shift them. Now, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Melissa Sarrazin, and I am an intuitive healer, an energy practitioner, and a spiritual mentor. And I work with men and women who are struggling with integrating their spiritual selves into their everyday life, their business, if they're entrepreneurs. Now, most people know me for helping my clients bring back together all parts of themselves. And I'm going to talk about more what I mean by that as we continue today. Because when we claim back all of our potential, all the potential that we are born with, we are able to move powerfully forward in our lives. We're able to stand on our own 2 feet, to make our own choices in a way that really best serves you and living a life that's full of purpose, full of fulfillment and freedom. And after I'm working with people, they find that they are more confident. They walk into rooms and they feel like they belong. They're in their bodies fully and their minds are strong, and they live from their hearts in a way that feels good and in a way that feels like they are in alignment with who they really are. And then also when I work with entrepreneurs, they have a deep understanding of how they create, what their gifts are, and then how to go ahead and share that in their business. Now, before we begin, I just want to touch on how this webinar is going to be different. Because we're going to be talking about something that is personal and it is on an eternal level, we're going to talk about those 3 pain points that you can begin to recognize and help to reclaim your power. Our stuff can come up. And so you really want to bring your awareness to that can happen, and you notice where it hits you in your body. To notice if you start to shut down, or if you go into a story about how anything that I'm sharing won't work for you. Because, you know, we've all tried other things. We've all tried things that we felt didn't work for us. And we've all seen other people use things and become successful at using them. And so this is what can surface up in this space. And when that surfaces up, there's a lot of times where self-doubt can creep in. And that's going to distract you from really listening and taking in the information that is being shared. As well as the pain, I'm also, of course, going to talk about the steps that you can begin to apply today. And so, I know with the history with my clients and with myself, that sometimes it's hard to remain open, and there are parts that will begin to fight inside of myself. These are the separated parts of ourselves. They're ones that are usually the leaders that take us through things. And the one part I always refer to as my protector part. This is the part of me that is always a bit skeptical and a bit wary of what it is that I might be moving into. And then the second part is the dreamer, the part that opens my imagination, that says, oh my God, if I could do this for myself, then all of these things are possible for me. Now, these two parts can be surfacing at the same time, and yet they can also start to fight with each other. You know, and it really depends on how we grew up. It depends on how we've been programmed by the environment that we were in. You know, some of us were not taught to question what you were told, to be obedient. You know, while also being told that when you become an adult, you're going to be able to make sense of your world. You're going to be able to make your own decisions. And yet when we're programmed, we bring those programs with us. So, you know, something my dad always said when I was young was, while you're living under my roof, you'll follow my rules. Okay, great. So I couldn't wait to get out from under his roof so that I could have my own roof. But then I've been programmed to be obedient. And so now I was under my own roof. Who was it that I was being obedient to? And what were the guidelines that these rules were made from? So as a tendency, these things inside of us are going to be fighting for space. They're going to all want to be heard. And depending on which one you listen to, that's the one that is going to win most times. And so I want to begin just by doing a simple process that's going to help to bring these two parts of you together, so that you can really fully get everything that you're asking to get out of our time together. And so I just want to ask that you participate with me in this. And if nothing else comes of this webinar, you will have separated parts that are now working together. And that alone is going to help you to take a step and create any changes that you're wanting to change in your life. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about these two parts. Think about the part that is your protector. Think about the part that is your dreamer and the one that carries you forward. And now I want you to see these parts in your left hand. And, you know, this is where we get to use our imagination. So if you can't see them clearly, don't worry about that. Just imagine them. And then wonder, what's the color of these parts? What shape are they? How bright are they? Maybe one is brighter than the other. And then listen as those parts are talking to you, how they're telling you the benefits that they give you. And if you can't think of any benefits, just consider the possibility that their benefits are to protect you from something. And now just simply close your left hand. Now we want to use our imagination again and get a sense of how you're going to feel when this challenge is successfully resolved. Or you can simply ask to access the part of you that knows that it's already healed and whole, or that it can heal itself. Or simply ask to access the part of you that is light. And then see this part of you in your right hand. The color, the shape, and the brightness of this part. And then hear the sounds of this part, or the words that it has to say to you. And listen to this part telling you the benefits it gives you. And again, as you close your hand around this part in your right hand, feel these benefits and wonderful feelings in your body. And then just rest in those feelings for a few seconds. Now we're going to choose 2 more resourceful states or emotions. So we can put confidence in there. We can put trust. We can put love. We can put joy. Whatever it is you came to this webinar to feel more of. Imagine those 2 resourceful states and add them to your right hand. And as these resourceful states are being added, notice the color, the shape, and the brightness. And again, hear what this part is telling you about the benefits that it gives you. And then close your hand around that part. And now, whether your eyes are open and closed, you want to open your right hand again. Now you want to open your left hand. And now just begin pouring all of the contents from your right hand with the wonderful feelings into your left hand. And as you keep pouring, see the color change. Watch as the shape changes, the brightness change. And hear the sounds change as the light integrates with the dark. And feel the changes inside your body. And enjoy those feelings inside your body. Lisa, it sounds like your phone is on, and if you could please just mute the microphone on the screen, that would be great. And if you don't know how to do that, then I'm just going to go ahead and do that from here. There we go. Okay. There we go. So now we have no more background noise. Awesome. So now you are feeling and enjoying all these good feelings in your body. And I want to just ask that you give yourself permission to allow these parts to integrate so that they're working together, so that you can powerfully move forward. And you can hear clearly everything that we're going to be talking about today. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my own story and about realizing my own potential and how I've come to be at this webinar sharing with you in this way today. I grew up in the 80s. There was plenty in the world. Materialism was really a main driving force for identifying who I was in the world. I loved to buy the latest trends when I was in high school, the brand names. Nike was my favorite as I was an athlete, and Air Jordan was popular. It probably still is popular, but for me it was new. And, I was lucky enough that my parents often traveled and were able to get me clothes and shoes that we didn't have in Canada. And it helped me to stand out so that I got noticed. And when you're young, you want to be noticed, you want to be loved, you want to be accepted. And this was one of the ways that I did that. One of the other ways that I got noticed was for my athletic ability. I was always told when I started something new that I had great potential, that if I did everything that I was told to by my coaches, that success was pretty much assured for me, given my talent and potential. Even my peers who had been on the teams that I was joining before me said that they saw something special in me as well. And so, this really made me feel good, and it gave me energy to throw myself into the sport, to really commit to what I was doing. But then when I wasn't able to perform as good as the veterans on the team, the people that other people saw me being like, I internalized those experiences, and my potential and this greatness became a heavy burden for me to carry. It became a responsibility that I didn't want, because it activated a fear in me that I was going to let everybody down. There was these expectations, and I was going to fail, and I was going to end up having to quit, and then that would make me a quitter. And because I internalized it that way, that is exactly what happened. It's what I was focusing my energy and thoughts on. And I was just waiting for the disaster to happen. And even though I had some really amazing coaches, even though I was taught how to use my mind in a different way, I had already been programmed this way. And I stopped being an athlete. And when I stopped being an athlete, I lost my identity. I had no idea who I was anymore. I had no idea what I was good at. I didn't know where I was going or where I wanted to go in life. And I wondered, what happened to all this potential? What happened to all of these things, these great things that people saw for me? And I ended up falling into depression. And I lost interest in many of the things that used to feed me and help me to feel good about myself. You know, before, when I was playing sports, I was confident. I loved being parts of teams, you know, as well as challenging myself individually. I really liked being a leader and have others look to me and to share my knowledge and encouragement with others to be the best that they could. I really loved that part of sports. But then when my potential was never fulfilled in that area of my life, I felt like I'd lost it. And then all of a sudden I was disconnected from my potential, and I felt like must be the secret that people who were successful knew, and that I didn't. I just didn't get access to that secret. And so I took some time off of school to discover myself, and I decided to go into culinary college. And I went into cooking as a way of being creative. I thought, okay, I'm going to put my potential into this creative avenue. As well as I wanted to travel the world. That was a dream of mine that I still held on to in my heart. But it was that driving force that led me into sports in the first place that wouldn't leave me alone no matter what I did. And that hard voice, that driver, it pushed me, you know, past my physical limits when I was training, which I needed, but it still remained. And it was still trying to push me past my limits that I hadn't quite developed yet. And so I began to talk to myself in a very harsh tone. I was never very nice. I never did good enough. I never did as well as everyone around me. And I considered myself to be a failure at everything that I did. And so I brought these failures with me everywhere I went, as well as the depression and the struggles that I had in believing in myself. People were still saying great things about me, but I didn't believe them anymore because I had no proof. And, you know, I just constantly had that critic and that judgment, or that judgment I would create outside of myself. If somebody was looking at me, I would be like, well, what are they looking at me for? What am I doing wrong? What am I being judged for in this moment? And I just constantly wondered why I felt so behind everyone else. And even though I felt this way about myself, I was still managed to travel. I left home. I pushed myself to live my dream. So there is that balance there between my protector and the dreamer. The dreamer pushed me to go out of my comfort zone and to leave what I knew behind, because I really believed that could help me to change. But trying to outrun yourself and the patterns and the voice that was, you know, keeping me down, it didn't matter where I went. It always followed me. You know, I went to Europe, I traveled to all these places, and it wasn't until I was in Hawaii on my honeymoon that I had an experience at the cultural center there. And watching this parade of boats come down and these islands presenting their stories of their culture, it really changed the way that I viewed the world. They were talking about their connection to their environment. They were talking about a bigger power taking care of them. They told stories about how the coconut and the coconut tree was a main source that fulfilled their needs, and they were expressing their gratitude for this. Now, this was something that I had seen in my travels, but I'd never quite put it or applied it to myself. And so that experience at the cultural center really led me on a journey, and the journey led me to discover my spirit. And once I discovered that I had a spirit, that there was something larger than me, all of a sudden I could see it. And I could see the burden that I had adopted and that I was carrying on my shoulders. I could see how I believed that I was all alone and that I had to work through my challenges on my own because I didn't want to pass the burden on to anyone else. I could see how I was the one that was crushing my potential by allowing my power to be held back because I was afraid to apply it, because I didn't know what the results would be. But Spirit works in wondrous ways, and this led me down a path that I never would have seen. I have been able to collect parts of myself that I left behind. I've been able to heal those parts of myself that have been wounded, hurt, that believed that I wasn't good enough. I've been able to hear the loving, supporting, and compassionate voice that also lives inside us. And to use this part of myself to slowly, step by step, claim back my power. And to continue step into and realize my potential every single day. I know now that I have the power to choose. I have the power to change whatever it is that I want to change. And when I partner with myself, when I partner with my spirit, and with my belief that life is here to support me, life is here to lift me up, to hold me, and to guide me every step of the way, I no longer believe that I have to do everything myself. And I know that I have been given my power, my potential, and my experiences so that they can be the guide and the path for me to continue moving and remembering the potential that I was born with. And so now we're going to go into the content of what you came here to learn today. So how to live in your power without fear of criticism, judgment. Now I've been talking a lot about potential. I've been talking a lot about personal power. And I know that you have an abundance of personal power that you were born with when you came into this life. And that you have a unique way that you're wired. You have a unique energy blueprint that's designed to help you function at a high level of energy, at a level of clarity, and with strength and courage that is going to pull you forward into realizing your dreams. However, most of us from the time that we were born, were taught that our outer worlds were the most important for us to focus on. We were taught to listen to authority around us, not to question what they told us, but to be obedient, to follow the rules, and to be like everybody else. And I'm sure you can remember a time when it felt uncomfortable. It really feels unnatural to follow everybody else when we identify with a feeling inside of ourselves. However, we didn't want to disappoint the people that we love. And so we forego what was happening on an inner level, and we stopped listening to our inner voice. We disconnected from our own rhythm. We all have a rhythm on how we like to learn. We all have a rhythm on how we like to move through our days. But we disconnected from that. And we just busied ourselves trying to keep up with everyone around us. We did our best in school with our grades. We looked for ways to excel in the activities that we're part of. And we did this all because we longed to feel accepted, to be loved, and to be told that we are good, that we have value, and that the world wants and needs us and what it is that we have to give. And then we become an adult whenever that happened for you. And all of a sudden we were given a level of independence that we'd never had before. We are we become this legal age and you're allowed to think on your own. However, we've already been programmed with the belief systems and knowledge of the authority that we grew up around. And we don't really know who we are. And yet the expectations feel like they're amplified. I remember when I was about 18 or 19 and I was having my own thoughts. And behind those my own thoughts, there was the voices of these other people who had told me things about myself, about my abilities, about who I was supposed to be. And somehow or another, that authority started to rule me. And it was where I behaved and acted from. And I used those voices to keep myself in line and to use as a measuring stick as to the kind of job that I thought that I was doing. That measuring stick didn't exist. I created it from the things that I took on. And I forgot to look at what was good. And I started to look at why am I not as good as? And really, I believe that this is an invisible epidemic. And yet we can all connect to certain aspects of what I'm sharing here. And I know, again, there's a power within you that is unique to you. And that you came here to share and to serve humanity with. And no matter what it is you do in the world, if you're a career person, if you're a stay-at-home parent, if you're an entrepreneur, no matter who you identify yourself with, you are a unique expression of life. And if that expression is stifled, the whole world misses out on the sharing of your gifts, your talents, your learning, your growth, and your life force. And the world needs you now more than ever. The world that we live in is shifting. Humanity is being stretched into consciousness. We're being forced to come back into the present moment and to use our power in ways that add to the world. There are so many things that take away our hope, our dreams, that want to claim our goodness and our compassion. And it's really time that we remember how to disconnect from the outer world and to claim our own goodness for ourselves, to use our own compassion to help propel us forward, to use our love of life, of ourselves, of our abilities to create what it is that we want. Gone are the times of coasting through a day without noticing that something's not right, that something's not in balance. There's too much outside of ourselves that is mirroring the stuff that we're holding inside that we no longer need. And so the calling is getting stronger for each one of us. And so here we are. We're gathered together through our computers so that we can feel connected to something that's bigger than each one of us individually. And we gather together because we believe that we can tap into the vibrational energy of hope, of belief, of transformation, so that there can be a little less pain in the world for ourselves and for those who are around us. So we're really passing through a time when it's imperative that we remember who we are, that we remember how to apply our energy in a way that grows, expands, and nurtures. It's a time to remember what it feels like to stand on our own. So this is where I want to help you to identify where you might be stuck, where you're giving your power away. When we are so close to ourselves, we don't always see what the patterns are that we're living in. And so I'm going to talk about the 3 triggers that I've noticed in myself and in the clients that I work with on a daily basis. So the triggers around giving away your power are that I don't know if I'm good enough to do that. It's your first thought when you think, oh, I might like to try that. But I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I have enough knowledge to move forward with that. When you're in this pattern, you're stopping your flow. When you feel like you have to think things through. And when you do, your thoughts just get all tangled and you freeze and you're not able to make decisions or take one simple action. And often you'll talk yourself out of doing what you know is good for you. And it all falls to the belief that, I just don't know. I just don't know. And being able to let yourself live in that place. Another trigger that I see very often is I never experience the same results as everyone else. It's the comparison game. And this is poisonous, this comparison game that we do when we ask ourselves, well, how did they become successful so fast? How come her weight doesn't ever seem to change? She always looks so put together every time I see her. Does she ever have a bad day? These are thoughts that we really need to stop. We need to recognize that we're there and we need to step into a different place. Because we're all capable of being the best that we can be. And if you compare yourself to anyone, you're giving your power, your attention, and your energy to that other person. And this person might live on the other side of the world. It doesn't matter. When you're comparing yourself, you're draining your energy and your ability to think through the problem and to be open to receiving the solutions that are available to you to help move you through. And trigger number 3, that just makes me think of all the failures I've experienced before now when I try something new. We've all not been able to be good at something the first time that we try it. And depending on how we've been programmed in the supportive or unsupportive environment that we grew up in, we've all thought of ourselves as a failure in some way. We've all had our expectations taken down a notch. We've all had what I call mistakes at things. They're not failures. And if we allow ourselves to dwell too much on the past, even if we believe that revisiting them in the present will help us, we need to learn to just let go, to ask different questions of ourselves, and to keep ourselves moving forward with courage and tenacity. So those are the 3 triggers that I find the most common. And so if you find yourself in one of these triggers, what do? How can you manage your energy in a way that's going to move you towards directing it and really keeping and using your power in a positive way to help you move through these challenges? Because unfortunately, as I've learned over the years, that these triggers never really fully go away. Whenever you decide and you commit to living a transformational life, when you commit to keep growing as a human and to keep bettering yourself, anytime you try something new or you want to take yourself to the next level in understanding something, these triggers are going to try and get your attention. Just this morning I was feeling all anxious. And I very rarely feel anxious these days. So I was like, what the heck? What's going on here? What is this anxiety doing here? Where did it come from? And when I looked at it, I spotted my own trigger of not being able to see the results before I take a step. And therefore, it keeps me in this trigger number 3, thinking about the failures that I've experienced or how things didn't always work out for me in the past. And then when I caught myself, I took myself through these very, steps that I'm going to share with you now. So when you're triggered and you can feel that your power is draining away, the steps to begin to align with your power so that you can stand on your own. Step 1 is commitment. What kind of commitment do you have? What are you committed to? And will this commitment take you forward to create the change that you crave? Can you make a commitment to yourself that's going to honor and accept the way that you feel no matter how that is? Can you make a commitment to yourself and the experiences that you've had and your ability to use the tools and processes that you've learned through the energy that is asking you to leave? I really believe that you have many gifts and talents that are inside of you. You've been given many ways to help yourself. And yet when we get triggered, we still feel that challenge to hold ourselves together. And yet these are the times that your prayers are being answered. Your desires to create something different in your life within yourself are coming to the surface, not so that they can hold you back. They're coming to the surface so that you can look at how you've internalized your life. You can look at the beliefs that you're holding on to, and then you have something to measure those beliefs against. Are these beliefs going to help me fulfill this commitment that I have? Because making a commitment to yourself that you will do what it takes, that you will love yourself through the process, and honor your own timing of things. So not to play the comparison game anymore. This releases resistance, it releases struggle, it releases and reduces the fight, flight, or freeze patterns that have been programmed into our bodies. So step one is to look at, what am I committed to in this moment? And then step two is all about energy mastery. So now that I recognize this anxiety, what does that mean exactly? How do I master my energy in a way so that I can move through this anxiety and still continue to do what my heart is calling me to do? And this is where you get to take responsibility for how you're feeling. You get to own the experience, and then you get to use your power to release and direct your energy towards what you want. You know, this is where I find that judgment comes into the equation a lot of the times. You know, when you feel something that you don't think you should be experiencing, or that your expectations not being fulfilled, you know, you go into that story of, my God, how did I get to this place again? I thought that I had this feeling, this situation, this trigger handled, and yet here I am again. And you start berating yourself, saying, I'm just not good at this stuff. It's impossible for me to get through this. So when you're telling yourself any version of this story, that is your cue to stop. It is your cue to take a look at the energy of what you're holding, to access the rest of the story that's coming behind that feeling, right? It's said that we have 60,000 thoughts in a day. And most of those thoughts actually play on autopilot in the background without you really being aware of it. So becoming aware of when you find yourself in story, when you're judging yourself, when you're being hard, this is where you get to stop and stop fighting the story. You let the story come up. You allow yourself to be fully aware of all the things that you say to yourself. And that includes the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because once you're aware of how deep it runs, this is where the fun begins. Because this is where you get to use your power of letting go, of releasing what you no longer want, and then use your power to activate how you want to feel. So if you're triggered by what you see someone else doing, you know, let's say you've gone to pick up your kids and you see that mom who's put together all the time, you know, while you're living in your yoga clothes and no makeup. What are you really saying to yourself in that moment? How is that story making you feel? And if you feel like you don't measure up, stop your thinking right there. And you can stop your thinking simply by taking a breath. Just take a deep breath. And allow your mind to just go crazy for a few minutes. And then once you feel like your story's come to the end, allow your mind to then focus on all the things that you've done your best at that day. Make a list in your mind. Well, my kids got out of bed, they got to school, they were on time, I made a lunch so that I know that they ate, and I'm here to pick them up. Whatever the situation is. Think of all the things that you've done well that day. And then ask for more. What else is a positive that you can reach for? Well, before I saw that, I felt full of energy. I felt full of enthusiasm, and then I just got thrown back into that pit again. These are the things that you want to work with. This is where your own truth lies, and this is where your ability to claim back your own energy and power and activate it for good lies. So learn to master your own energy, noticing the way that you feel, the story that it starts having you go on in your head, and then choose to focus your energy on what you have done well that day. Doesn't matter how big or small it is. It's anything that gives you a feeling of, yeah, I've done all of these things today, and those were things that needed to be done, and I've done them to the best of my ability. And then step 3, you want to remember to give to yourself. Take time, take space to nurture, love, and to hold yourself in a compassionate place. Whatever it is that you need, ask yourself, what do I want? Or better yet, you can ask yourself, what am I expecting to get from someone else? What is it that I want them to give to me? And then turn that around and ask, how can I give that to myself? How can I give myself a break? How can I use my commitment to do something good for myself every day? And do it. Go for a walk in nature, just 20 minutes out of your day. How many hours are we awake? 12 hours. Look in that timeline. And you're telling me there's not 20 minutes of that day to give to yourself? There is. Maybe you want to meet that girlfriend you haven't seen for a while and have coffee, tea, or share a glass of wine with them. Or, you can ask for help with something that you do every day so that you can give yourself a break. Change your schedule a little, as much as you can, and see how that feels differently. Give yourself some space so that you can dream, that you can use your imagination. Read a book that's purely fantasy and allow yourself to get caught up in the story. Allow yourself to be carried away like you did when you were a child watching a movie on a big screen. Give yourself permission to play, dance, and sing, and to relax on the to-do list every once in a while. So that's step 3. Give to yourself, give yourself a break, and nurture yourself in some way a little bit every day. This helps to build the energy of positivity, helps you to keep moving forward, and to do it in an easier way. When you build your energy, it gets easier. And then step 4, why? Why do you want the changes that you dream of? What are they going to give you? What do they mean? And how will your life be different when they are here? Your why is going to help you create a picture of yourself. Because you're going to get to look at yourself when you're at the end of this challenge and you are feeling more free in some part of your life. Why do I want this? And how does that feel when I see myself in that place of already achieving what it is that I want to achieve? Knowing your why reminds you to keep your heart open, to allow any pain to surface so that you can activate love at a deeper level in all areas of your life. And then you want to use this picture of yourself to bring you to the other side where solutions live. It's in the solution that your power is waiting for you to reclaim it. So these are the steps that I wanted to share with you and how you can start to begin to use them to help to just shift your energy. Every time you shift your energy, things become easier. And I wanted to also share with you how I applied these 4 steps to the anxiety that I was feeling this morning so that you can have a practical example. Because without the actual application of these steps, nothing is going to change. If you don't take action, you're going to be stuck on the same hamster wheel that you find yourself on today. So this morning I was feeling anxious and I noticed that my body did not want to be still. My mind was racing and I was thinking ahead and I was thinking of all these things and I was wondering how I was going to be able to do it. I was looking for ways to move the anxiety, to separate myself from it. And then I finally stopped and I knew, okay, if I continue down this path, I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be present with you right now on this webinar. Something would have happened in my day that I had created that would have caused me to cancel and reschedule this webinar for a different day. This has happened to me before in the past, more times than I can count. And, when I do that, when I rescheduled something and I leave it, oftentimes I'll move on to something else. And I'll forget that I put all of this energy, attention, and information together to share, and it will just fall by the wayside. So this is what I did. When I noticed that anxiety and I just wanted to move and I was trying to separate myself from it, I sat down and I stopped. I breathed into my body. I breathed into the anxiety that was present and I asked myself, what is this from? And the answer that I heard, you're afraid of presenting this webinar today. And I thought, okay, so that's what I'm trying to avoid feeling, when I knew it's perfectly natural to feel this fear. And so I looked at the story that I was engaging in, and I had been telling myself for more than one day leading up to this time that I was not fully prepared, that I didn't necessarily have enough time for me to really feel confident in the way that I had brought this presentation together. I didn't necessarily feel confident in what I was presenting. And what if I do this and like in the past, nothing happens? So these are the stories that I have been living in for the last couple of days that I've been trying to separate myself from, make okay. But I knew that I needed to engage with it fully so that I could shift it, so that it wasn't running my thoughts and my energy. I needed to gather that power back. And so breathing deeply, I called up my commitment. And my commitment to myself this year, funnily enough, is to stop allowing fear to run my life. To be able to really honor the way that I feel and to move through it and take the actions that I'm being guided to anyways. And then I asked myself, what did I need to believe in this moment to connect back to my commitment? And the answer came back that I needed to believe that I can feel safe in my vulnerability in presenting something new. I needed to know that it was okay, that I could remain connected to my vital life force energy so that I don't pass out or change what I've prepared in the middle of my presentation, because I've done that before too. And so I breathed into that new belief that it is safe for me to feel vulnerable in something new. And I can ask the energy of this new belief to move the energy of anxiety and to replace it, to give myself permission to step into this place. And then next I asked, how do I master my energy in this situation? I have looked at what I feel, I got access to the story, to the belief, and I've replaced it. Now what? And I got 2 answers. One of those answers was to eat lightly. to not stuff my face, and to leave space for the energy to move through my body easier. And then step 2 was to take myself through a 5-minute energy exercise sequence that I knew would have all my energy systems working together. And so I followed my guidance. I made myself a protein smoothie so that I could wait until after to eat something more substantial. And I did my 5-minute exercise routine. And after that was done, I was feeling better already. I could feel that shift happening. And then next, I asked my feminine self to nurture me through these moments of fear and anxiety. I knew that I would still feel it as I was sitting here talking to you. And so I asked for my feminine self specifically to give me a different picture to be given about the results of continuing. And after I had that picture, I noticed that I naturally adjusted my body posture so that my body was more open. And I asked my energy to expand because I knew that in expansion, everything moves more easily and faster. If I stayed in the constrictive emotion, then my energy and my power would be drained. And so I asked myself to be in expansion, and I breathed until I felt that expansion in my body. And then I reminded myself of my why. My purpose is to help people transform their inner lives so that they can live with more confidence, with more inner peace, to be able to be who they are and be in the present moment, and to appreciate the simple things in life so that they can remember that they're capable of holding the big things that are here for them as well. And then I breathed into that. And that made my eyes light up again. It made my heart open. And here I am now, taking action towards realizing that dream more and more, and being in service to the calls of my spirit. So I hope that example gives you a practical application of how you can use these 4 steps to help you when you notice that you're triggered. And then I also want to share a secret key to you. My husband and I were watching TV one night, and he has this habit of coming out of nowhere and spouting these really profound things in moments where I'm totally not expecting it. And he told me this story about the show we were watching. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I want to remember that because I want to be able to share that with people. And it took me a few days to remember, but I remembered. And so the secret key that's going to help you to align fully with your power is to find someone who's been where you are and is on the other side of the challenge that you're currently experiencing. Different perspectives help us to see what it is that we're too close to seeing. If we're not used to going inside and really being honest with what's here, having someone hold that space for you is going to help you get to that other side faster. Even if you are familiar with it, and it's been something you have been participating in for a long time, when we're up-leveling ourselves, sometimes fear can be very tricky. You know, we all need someone to partner with us in reaching our goals and our ideal pictures. We need someone who thinks, sees, and knows differently from you. This helps you shorten the learning curve and step into your own power quicker. And you know, don't take this truth just from me. Take a moment and look into history. This is where the story that my husband told me came from. All the great leaders, we watch a lot of history shows, who have been written about. Each one of those leaders surrounded themselves with people who were different from them. They were from different backgrounds, different cultures. They held different knowledge about life and about how to make something happen. Their mind was programmed differently about how they viewed their outside world. And when you have people like that around you, they help you to gain new, unknown knowledge that you just don't know. And we just don't know what we don't know. There's no fault in that. It's just the way that we are. So by having people around you that have different knowledge and different perspectives really help to keep you ahead. And it helped these past leaders keep them ahead of people who are trying to tear them down. So make no mistakes, we need each other. We need our differences and our diversity in order to be able to move together into a future that looks bright, safe, and abundant for us all. We need these things. And that is why we are here for each other. That is why co-creation is important. And so energy mastery, I've been going back to that. How do we master our energy? Energy is something that we can't see. It's something that, is kind of still a bit woo-woo, it's still a bit hokey, how do I master my energy? Well, I've created a program called Energy Mastery. And what it's about the blueprint that you were born with. We are all born with a certain energy map that is unique to you. I have my own, you have your own, everybody has their own. And this energy map, when you understand it, it brings you to the center and the unique essence of you and how you came to express yourself. Right? This goes back to that faulty programming we've been given as a child. Because when you came into this life, you came in wired in a specific way for experiencing success. And yet we have been taught and led to believe that we need to be like everybody else in order to experience success. But you have been wired in a specific way. And when you know that, it just gives you an advantage in so many ways. It connects you to your purpose. It helps you to commit to a life that's transformational. It helps you connect back to that energy of play. I remember when I first had my children and I was on the floor with them and I was supposed to play with them. I didn't know how to play. I didn't know how to get out of my head and to just let myself be silly. It took me years to remember how to be silly, how to laugh at myself. How open is your heart to love? As women, we easily sometimes give love. We easily caretake about the people around us, but how do we love and caretake ourselves? How do you communicate and use your voice in order to open to receive all that you are desiring? This is what being a master of your energy gives you. It connects you to all these things and it teaches you about yourself at your core. It's a foundation where you get to give yourself permission to just be who you are and to feel safe in those spaces when you feel vulnerable. Your unique energy map, it gives you an archetypical picture of what your life purpose is and helps you to make choices easier because you simply ask, is this going to take me towards my life purpose or is it going to veer me away from it? It becomes your guiding post. Your unique energy map tells you your communication style, so you learn to use the words that are going to feel connected and connective for other people when you're in their space and when you are communicating and connecting with other people. It shows you your male and female energies, and if you're anything like me, you grew up in the male side of yourself. And your female side was not loved, not honored, not cherished, and not allowed to come to the surface because she was too emotional and out of control. However, when we are creating our life and when we are wanting to change, we need both our male and female sides to work together in order for that manifestation to happen. So right now you'll see in the world there's a lot of healing happening for the female, so that the female and male can come back together and co-create. We need co-creation. We can't do anything by ourselves. And you also learn about the energy you need to include in everything that you do so that you can welcome prosperity into your life. We all want to feel prosperous. We all want to feel wealthy. And we all have a different picture of what that looks like, and yet we have the outer world telling us what it should look like. But when you know the energy to include, prosperity is assured. You feel it. You experience it. And you also get to know the fastest path to embodying and mastering your energy, which is just so exciting to me. When I found out this knowledge, I was like, wow, everything just changed in an instant. All of a sudden, I understood myself on a level that I had never been able to understand myself before. I was able to look back on the experiences that I had, and I realized why I had those experiences. That those experiences were actually positive things that brought me toward where I am today. If I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't be able to do what I did today. So instead of being critical of myself, instead of judging myself for how I did things differently, I was able to embrace those experiences and to use them to bring myself back into a place where I felt powerful. And power to me is feeling comfortable in your body, feeling comfortable in who you are, and to stop fighting against life. Stop trying to make life a certain way. When I am in my power, I can just be myself, and I don't need to have any expectations from other people. I can allow people to be who they are, and I can love them for who they are. And that gives me permission to love myself for who I am as well. Your blueprint gives you the exact recipe that will help you to manifest anything that it is that you want. If there's a new house that you want, if there's a new car, if you are going out shopping and there's a certain outfit that you're looking for, your manifestation blueprint will help you with all of these things, because you're going to know the ingredients. You're going to know what order to add them, how long for you to cook them, so that you manifest your perfect meal, so that you are able to open and receive the resources and opportunities that come along when you put that desire out into the world for what it is that you want to create. You will know how to use your power in a way that brings you into that space. So I've created this program called Energy Mastery. Own it, be it, and live it. Now, it's a 12-month one-on-one mentoring program. And in this mentoring program, we meet 3 sessions a month where we do work with your energy blueprint, with your energy map. We release what no longer works. We activate what it is that we want to move towards. And we learn how to direct your energy in the way that gives you energy to keep moving forward, that gives you the ability to use your own power to manage your energy and overcome the challenges that show up. You learn how to use your own manifestation blueprint for that specific goal and to experience success so that it becomes a natural part of you. And what that looks like is there's 3 phases to the program. It's 12 months for a reason. And I always get asked this question, so I'm going to answer it right up front. It's 12 months because whatever age you are, we've been programmed for so long, and we've been in our habits, we've been in our patterns. And they've taken that amount of time to be created. And so when we work over 12 months, we have the ability to partner with each other to really get to know your energy and how to use it so that when these challenges come up, you easily move through them, so that you see them for those signposts. Challenges and issues that come up are not made to create drama in my life. They come up because those are the signposts. Those are the places I know I need to go in order to get to where I want to go. And knowing how to master my energy and use it in a way that's going to get me through that challenge, I wholeheartedly take those challenges on, and I do it with energy. I don't feel defeated by them. I'm able to use it in a way to get through it. So over the 12 months, we create a ceremony, we lay the energy foundation for what it is that you particularly want out of getting to know yourself. And phase 2 is when we work with your unique energy blueprint, where we go over all of the spots on your blueprint, all of the places on your map that you have access to. We learn about the archetypes that are on these parts of your map and how to recognize the patterns so that you can activate those positive patterns that give you energy. And in phase 3, this is where you get to step into your self-sovereignty. This is where you get to own your energy, where you get to stand on your own and to do it in a way that is not defensive, to do it in a way where it helps you to feel connected to your environment rather than feel like a fly on the wall or to feel not understood. When you understand yourself, you know how to ask for what you need. And for me, this was huge. I did not know how to ask for what I needed. I was very independent and taught to take everything on myself. I was never soft. I was never vulnerable. But since I've learned my own energy map, I allow myself to go into those places. And life is so much more rich, so much more pleasurable. And that's in phase 3. You get to step into your self-sovereignty and really learn how to use your energy blueprint to create the life that you long for. So what I found, manifesting needs 3 main ingredients. It needs a constant source of energy, a management of challenges, and a clarity of direction. And again, that goes back to that secret key of using someone who has that experience so that you can focus on yourself and know that you're being held and cared for. So if this program sounds like it's a good fit for you, I really don't want you to make a decision to buy right now. What I want you to do is I'd love for you to email me so that we can set up a time for you to have an energy alignment session where we're going to discover what parts of you are out of alignment, where it is you're giving your power away, where that fight is really holding you back from embracing everything that you desire. Once you recognize that, then you'll be able to create a plan for you to help put these steps and some additional steps into place so that you can move forward and you can begin to live a transformational life where things keep getting better and better. You know, I kind of watched my parents live their life where in the 80s they were thriving. Then in the 90s it was going downhill. Then they retired and the struggle just seemed to get greater as they got older. And I watched this and I thought, that's not how I want to live my life. And through their example, they've given me the courage and the strength to dig within myself so that I can find those transformational moments so that I can keep moving forward and keep making life better. You know, we saw friends we hadn't seen for a while this weekend, and it seemed like they were resigned to some parts of their life. And I was like, no, come on, let's play. Let's keep this energy light. Let's remember that we are here to experience pleasure, not to get stuck in the pain. Well, if you feel like this is a good fit for you, you know, don't make a decision. Email me. We'll get together. And if it is something that is a good step for you, I'll make the invitation for you to join the program. And if it's not, that's okay. I'm going to give you some additional tools and a plan to move forward. And, you know, it could be possible I might even refer you to someone who can help you. I can't be the one to help you. So go ahead and, you know, email me and let's get together and talk so that we can get you on your way to living a transformational life. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn my camera back on here so that, hey, there we go. All right, so that is the end of the presentation today. I want to thank you so much for joining me. And then I want to open the floor. And I want to allow you to ask me any questions that you have about the information that I've shared, about how to apply it to a specific situation so that you can feel like you understand how to take this information to really use it in order to help you through whatever challenges you're experiencing right now. So if you have a question, you can either unmute yourself, and it's simply by pushing on the microphone that you'll see by your name on the screen. Otherwise, there's also, if you are online, there is a chat box that if you put your mouse over the screen, you can put a message in there, and I'd be able to read it and answer your question. And I'll type a message in there so that you can see where that is. So if you don't feel comfortable unmuting yourself, that's okay. You can ask me any question through the chat as well. Something I forgot to mention is that when you're standing in your power, you're able to love and accept all parts of yourself. And, we all live in these different, roles that we play throughout our day. And we all have energy attached to each one of these roles. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I am a mentor. I am a very organized person. I am creative. I'm happy, I'm sad, I am heartbroken over a lot of the things that I experience, but I'm still curious as well. So I'm all of these combinations. And on any given day, something can pop up that's going to make me realize that I might not be being the person that I want to be in any one of those roles. And when I'm standing in my power, I know that I can work with whatever it is I'm experiencing in that moment to really help me clear anything that's tangled or that has me triggered so that I can continue to move forward. I can give myself permission to sing, to laugh, to dance, to play. All of these things, when you're in your power, they are there. It's thriving. And it's thriving within that unique version of yourself that you came to be. Mastering your energy is one of those first steps. And knowing your own unique energy blueprint gives you all of the knowledge that you need. And then you just use your commitment, use your why to learn how to use that energy map in the way that is most positive for you. That helps you to clear out what no longer works. That helps you to activate what it is that you want, and then to direct your energy of thought, of feeling, towards creating more of what you want. I've talked a lot about male and female energy today as well, and I just want to touch on the fact of, another reason why this program that I've shared with you is 12 months long is because our feminine likes to slow down. She likes to feel, she likes to nurture, she likes to take her time. She likes to revisit things, to really deepen in her own understanding of nurturing something, of holding something, and of allowing it to grow. So this program is not a race. It's not about ticking off all of these boxes as we meet every month. It's really about connecting back to your rhythm, the one that works best for you, that gives you the most energy, the energy that helps you get through your day. And when you have enough energy, you're naturally more curious. You're naturally more playful. You feel happy for no reason. And I remember when someone first told me, you're going to feel happy for no reason, I thought, yeah, I don't know about that one. But there are mornings when I wake up and I just feel happy. I feel light. I feel like I'm ready to play within the structure of my day. And that's a gift I think that anybody deserves to have. And your feminine will help you to tap into that, because there's really no rush in this process. We get to learn how to be intimate with ourselves. And when we're intimate with ourselves, everything changes. Because I no longer rely on other people to give me what I need. I can give it to myself. And then when I'm full, that allows me to give it to other people that much more. So that's another reason why the program is 12 months and why I put such an emphasis on the masculine and feminine. It's really how we manifest and how we use our abilities to create the life that we came to live. Sorry. I saw a picture of my daddy on my desk, and it's coming up to a year now that he has actually passed away. And to see him smiling back at me right now just reminds me of the pride that he had when he saw me step in to becoming the woman that I am today. So there's that vulnerability that I was mentioning before that I'm feeling. So I've got 10 more minutes to hang out with you, and please ask me a question. There's no wrong question to ask. And if you ask the question, I know that somebody else probably has that same question. So either unmute yourself or type a message into the chat, and I'd be happy to give you everything I have on the topic and the subject that you're asking me.
Hi, Melissa. It's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Can you hear me? Hello. I'm like so like touched because everything you said, and I believe, and I just lost my father on August 4th. So just I just like needed to hear all this. And I just want to thank you.
You're welcome. It's a tough place to be in where you are right now. And honestly, the way that I experience grief is the worst thing in the world that anybody could ever want to go through. But I just want to give yourself permission to just feel the way that you're feeling and honor it and allow yourself to go through the process. And although it's really painful right now, it's going to get easier. There are going to be times where it will hit you out of nowhere.
Right.
That's unavoidable, right?
Yes. And like I know that, and I'm like a true believer. I'm very faithful, and I know, my dad's in peace, and like I understand why people have to go through what they have to go through. But then you still feel grief no matter what, because we're in human form, even though we understand all that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just needed, I don't know, just to hear this whole thing because it just verifies everything I feel. So I'm grateful for this webinar, and by accident I got it. I was just looking on my emails, and I just like clicked on you. I really didn't know what it was going to be about. I didn't even have time because it was 1:01 when I saw it on my email, and I said, "Oh, I'm just clicking on it. I don't even know I'm just doing it." And so I'm very grateful because I needed to just hear it and get verified.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And thank you. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Now be sure to email me, and we'll get together on the phone, and I'll give you anything else that I can give you to help you through this time. And know that there's no accidents. I really resisted all morning sending out that email that you clicked on that brought you.
Oh my God. See,
Thank you.
it's like divine timing. Everything happens. Like, I truly believe that. I'm like such a strong believer of that. And like, it's just things happen and they're like, wow, like what you asked for, and it just comes to you in, different ways. Because I went through a lot of emotions with my dad. Like my whole family, I just saw, like, I always knew about myself because I was always like honest with myself, and I knew I was a product of my environment and all that. But I just saw different aspects of myself while we were going through this with my dad before he died. Like, I saw it in every person. And I always saw it about myself, but it just came like, oh my God, individual. Like, I saw my sister with me, my father, my mother. It's an incredible story. One day I got to tell you the story of my mom and dad. It's just a beautiful story. It could be like a book. And they were divorced. But when I tell you what happened, I'd like to talk to you. I would like to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely email me and we'll set up a time to talk, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And know that I'm sending you so much love, and I'm just holding
I
a tender, safe space for you right now.
Thank you. I feel it. I know you were feeling emotional, and I know you were picking up on my feelings. I felt it,
Possibility.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. All right. Anyone else who wants to ask me a question or share something else with me? I so appreciate you sharing that, Lisa. I really do, because, like I said, I wasn't going to send that email out, and I had to hold myself down just to send it out as fast as I could, because, you might not have seen it, and now you're here, and I'm truly grateful for that. So thank you for sharing.
Amazing, and I'm so grateful too. The same here, and blessings.
Thank you to you as well. All right, so I've got 7 more minutes that I'm here. I'm yours. You can ask me anything about anything that I've said today, about any clarity, about how to apply it to a specific situation. Ask away. Because if not, I'm going to turn off this light so that I can stop heating up my body and go move my body so that I can continue to honor the way that I feel and to really just celebrate, this step that I myself have taken today. It's important to remember that as well, to celebrate anytime you are honoring that inner voice that is telling you to do something that you know is for your benefit, that we all know is sometimes hard to listen to. So this is the last call for questions or comments. And if not, then I'm going to end it here. And again, please email me at sacredvisionlife@gmail.com. I would love to talk to each and every one of you and to really support you in any way that I can, whatever that looks like. I'm really here in service. I offer this information, from the bottom of my heart, because I know that it works. I know that it's helped me transform my life. You heard me talk about depression and about living in fear. I lived in fear for a long time, even though I tried to pretend that I didn't. And to now be in a place where I can call on my own strength and courage and turn that into curiosity, to really lighten up the way that I am every day, is just really the greatest gift that anybody can give to themselves at any time. So with that, I'm going to say a very deep and humble namaste to everyone. Thank you so much for joining me, for spending your time here with me today. And I do hope that I hear from you and speak to you all very soon. So, bye for now.